My name's Diane Denish. I'm the Lieutenant Governor of the state of New Mexico. We're sitting in the state capital of New Mexico, the Roundhouse as we know it, the People's House of New Mexico. I chose a life of public service, not necessarily just elected office, but working with being a catalyst for positive change in New Mexico, and some of that does come through being an elected official. I chose New Mexico because it's my state of birth, but I would hope it would be my state of choice. It is a land of enchantment. It has a unique fabric that is woven together of many, many cultures of hundreds of years. In 1994, I decided that someone encouraged me to put my name in to be appointed to a public office that had been vacated. And I did that. And that was really the tipping point for me when someone suggested that I might serve in a statewide public office, even if I had just been appointed. And I really think that was the one that said, well, if someone thinks I'm good enough to be appointed, maybe I should run for something. My mission has been to help small communities survive. In New Mexico, we have 103 municipalities, of which only 11 have 10,000 or more people. Right now, my favorite spot is a little tiny community called Hillsboro, New Mexico. It's 156 permanent residents. I happen to have a little place there. It's a great place of respite and solace and beauty and artist and community, people trying to keep that community together. And but there's places that have vistas and entrapments that are beyond words in New Mexico, really. But if I can go to Hillsboro, New Mexico for a day or two, it's almost like having a week or two somewhere else. There have been lots of poignant moments. The most poignant of them are these kinds of moments. When someone comes to you and says, because of you, my disabled child still has his services. Or because of you, my 4-year-old in a very poor community can go to preschool. Or because of you, I got out of a payday lending, bad lender situation. Those are the kinds of moments that really make the biggest difference because you touch real people's lives. So there's a lot of public moments, but really the most meaningful moments are when people tell you how what you've done has directly affected their life on the planet. I have 3 children. I have 3 grandchildren. But I was inspired by my father, who always believed in community activism and community participation and had the demeanor and the emotional makeup for it. And he passed that on to me. My children, I have 2 very activist daughters. I have a son who's very passionate about the issues, but not active in the same ways, environmentalist, protectionist. And my husband is you can't do these kinds of jobs without your family, I guess I would say. I think there's a chance one of my daughters might end up being a candidate at some point for an office. My 6-year-old granddaughter has already told me she would never do such a thing. So I don't know whether I'll hold her to that or not. But, you know, it's very rewarding. You're energized by the people who are around you. And it can be tiring and it can be brutal. But I think the rewards far outweigh the problems with political life. And for my daughters, women's voices will never really be heard until we have a critical mass of women at all levels of elected officials. And while we make little incremental gains, we seem to slip backwards and we never get much above 20% in any entity. So I would encourage my daughters if they decided it was the right thing for them. I grew up in a life of small business owners, which comprises much of what New Mexico's about. Entrepreneurship is about business, it's about nonprofits, it's about communities. There's all kinds of entrepreneurs out there in the world, and I grew up in a world of what I would call entrepreneurs. I just want people to look back and say, you know, she was a good person. She loved what she did, and she did what she loved. I would love it if people could say that about me. That when her children grew up, they still wanted to spend time with her. Those kinds of things, kind of the simple things in life, really. If I weren't doing this at this time in my life, that I would really like to be back in school. I have a bachelor's degree. I think education's one of those opportunities that is lifelong. Formal education. You always think you can go back and do it, and I think I hope that I can one of these days, and just to have that time that you don't set aside personally to read and study in a work life. You do it when you're in a more formal academic, and there's just so much to learn about the world, and so much to, you know, so many people to learn from. I very much believe in volunteerism. I believe the ideas for government the best ideas in government come from outside of government through the citizenry of New Mexico, and I believe that happens across the country, because we're only as good as the people that we serve or the people around us. And so we should all strive to make someone else's life better, not just our own.